Tyler, how's it been being back for you? It's been a pretty quick recovery since you started?
Yeah, I've been healthy for a while now. I think I was healthy about mid-season last year. The recovery process went really well. I went up to Sioux Falls and got some things done, and it only probably was about a 2 to 3 month recovery before I felt like I was probably fully back. And it was pretty late in the season. That's when we decided on the redshirting. But no, that's I guess that's the positive part of the injury is I've been just working out and getting better for the past year, and so I'm looking forward to the season.
Was it difficult being healthy there towards the end, knowing that you could play, but having to just sit it out and wait?
Yeah, there's two different things I guess that were going through my mind. There was, me personally, it was hard. It was a struggle to watch the guys play and lose some close games here and there, and that I thought I could have played in and helped them. And on the other side, I knew that it was the best decision for me for this upcoming season. I know we're going to be really good, and we have a lot of goals planned. So I'm happy with my decision, and I'm just looking forward to this upcoming season.
For all three of you, how have practice been? Coach talks a lot about the depth that you have, some big transfers coming in, obviously, and some redshirts too, and able to step up. What have these first few practices been like?
I think we just started our 3rd week of practice, and we have our fall workouts and whatnot, and I really just like the intensity that we've shown even in the fall workouts, and I don't think we've dropped off any from fall workouts to practice. So I really like the intensity, and we got a lot of guys. We got a little more depth this year, so practice is a little more competitive. And we're really just showing up every day and getting after it.
Sure.
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah. Like Tristan said, practice has been a lot more competitive. We've been having guys like AJ, Cannon, Brady. They're not going to be playing this year, but they've been bringing it every day to practice. They've been working hard and bringing it to us, really. And it's making us better as a whole. Practice is being more competitive.
And kind of to reiterate what Stanley said is I think our scout squad is going to be a lot better this year. We'll have AJ, Cannon, and Brady on that squad. So those guys who are going to be really good for the future of this program are going to be really good for us this year, just by pushing us in practice and things every day. And so overall, 1 through 16, I think looks a lot better. There's not any injuries of significance right now, and so I think practices are looking a lot better at this time than they were last year.
Tristan, sort of along that same line, do you feel like you have the group to make a run at some of these this year?
Yeah. We obviously believe that. We have a lot of talent on this team. It's big to have Tyler Hagedorn back, but we also, we returned 4 starters. So the experience is there. We got some older guys who kind of, we've been through, the whole Division I college basketball season. This will be our 4th time, and I really think we have the experience and we got the talent, and that's definitely our #1 goal for this season.
Tyler, if I can, I want to go back to what Brian asked you earlier about having to sit out. I mean, in a situation like that, do you feel like you learned something about yourself having to sit out here?
Yeah, one thing I think I've noticed with red shirts is that's like one of the biggest years in a lot of guys' college basketball career. I think that's one of the years that guys make the biggest improvements in that year. And I think personally and for the team, it was really good because we all got a year under Coach Lee. There was a ton of learning and a ton of different things that were happening just with adding new players and getting our coaching staff completed and things like that before we could even, and then the season just was right around the corner, and so having a whole year of an experienced team learning our things. And so now, I think we talked about it recently, was just, a lot of, because we're veterans or whatever, we're teaching the new guys the new stuff, and so things are just rolling a lot quicker this year. And so for me personally, the redshirt year I think was great. It really slowed things down for me and just made me be able to get stronger and older and more mature. And so I think this year will be a really good year for me and us as a squad.
Stan, how much different is it this year after a year under Coach Lee, and there was a lot made of all the learning happening last year, now maybe having a more defined role for this team and understanding the offense better? Just how much different has it been and the approach to the season?
I feel like we're a lot more focused this year. We're all focused on our common goal as a team, and I feel like as us veterans coming back under a year, Coach Lee, it's like we all know it's less teaching and more adding on to what we already know. So I feel like we're really poised this year. We're all focused on our goal, and it's going to be a pretty push for the year.
Dan, you personally, it was kind of, last year was a breakthrough year for you. You can't kind of came out of nowhere, so to speak, but kind of a lot of high expectations on you personally this year. What's your change your outlook? Anything that in the season?
Yeah, I mean, the most changed thing for me is becoming more of a leader, being more vocal out there every day, and getting people going, being more responsible for not just myself, but for my teammates as well. So I feel like that's the main difference.
Kira, we'll start with you. As a senior, obviously you've been a leader on this team, but now into a senior role. And this team with a lot of returners. When you look at this group, what do you see?
Yeah, I mean, it's been an awesome 3.5 years now, going on the 4th. I think this team has, we lost Allison last year, which she left some big shoes to fill, but we've got a lot of experience coming back. We got some underclassmen that got experience last year that are now coming back as veterans. So it's a group of girls that has worked really, really hard, and I think we're all just excited to start game 1 because I think we feel like we could do something special this year.
Kira, I know at the end of last year, you suffered that ankle injury, everything full go, 100% heading into the season?
Yeah, did a lot of intensive rehab at the end of last year for that, and back healthy, and I'm excited to get started.
This is for any of you, high expectations here on anything new. You guys have been, 1 or 2 in the league for the last 3-4 years. What have you guys learned in those previous years you can use, heading into your senior year to own those expectations?
I guess for us, just taking game by game, just knowing that all the time that we spent in the summer and going to the preseason and all the little details that we have been working on for each game, just going in confident and being the #1 team in the poll right now. We know teams are going after us, and we have the target on our back, so we just got to come in with a chip on our shoulder and just know what we have, and we have each other, and just be confident in our play.
I'll ask Taylor a question. Taylor, every team is different. How do you think this team specifically is different?
I think this team is going to bring a lot of energy onto the floor and a lot of experience as well. I think this is one of the older teams that we've played on this year with a lot of experience. So I think we're going to be able to go out there from game 1 and just hopefully bring a lot of energy and have a good start to the season.
And Karen, how do you follow up how last year went?
Yeah, we had a good year last year. We accomplished some things that a lot of us had never done before, like making it to the NCAA tournament. But there were definitely things, obviously, that we didn't accomplish that we had kind of set out as goals at the beginning. So that does, keep us motivated going into the season. But like Taylor said, we kind of just have to stay focused on game 1.
Madison, how comfortable do you feel now to be in this system so many years, leading point guards and so forth? Do you not feel like you just go out there and play and not have to worry about, the system so well? It's going to be a good team.
Yeah, 3 years now, going on my 4th year. I have a lot of confidence, but it all comes from my coaches right away. They talk to me throughout what I need to improve on and what things I've been doing well on, and the confidence in my team. They give me the confidence to bring up the ball and kind of run our offense and kind of on the defensive end. And yeah, it comes from them, so I appreciate them.
Megan, I know you've dealt with some injuries in your career, but you've been around this group, obviously your entire career, and now going into this final season. How excited are you for just this year and what could be surrounded by these girls?
Yeah, I'm super excited for this season. I've been with these girls my whole career, like you said, and like we've all mentioned, we have a lot of experience and a lot of energy, and I feel like we're super fun to watch and have fun out there together. And this year could be something super special. And with me being healthy right now, hopefully staying that way, hopefully get some experience out there as well. But I'm excited for whatever my role is, whether that's on the court or on the bench cheering them on.
Any other questions for the players?
Just for each of you, just what did the NCAA tournament experience kind of mean for you guys going into this year in terms of just, experiencing that and really wanting to get back, I guess?
I guess for me, just having the experience, it just made me excited for what we could have for this year. The things that we need to work on and the steps we need to take to hopefully get to that spot again and go farther on than what we ended up last year.
I agree with Maddie. I think the experience was awesome, and now that we know what it's like and like what's out there, I think we're just that much more driven to hopefully get back there and just take it one game at a time. So that starts on November 5th.
Yeah, I mean, it was really cool to get to experience that. Like they said, it was something none of us have ever gotten to do before. And getting an at-large bid is obviously a super cool thing, being the first team in the Summit League. But I also think we definitely want to kind of earn our way there this year in terms of maybe winning the conference tournament, because that's another thing that we haven't ever been a part of. So I think it is really good motivation coming into a new year.
Yeah, me too. At the beginning of the summer and the season, we set goals, and that's always been one of our goals is to get there. And last year, us actually getting there showed how attainable it is and how attainable it is for us to get there and win games. So,
Summit League Coaches Poll and was picked only behind North Dakota State. We'll begin with an opening statement from Coach Lee, and we'll then open the floor to questions for Coach. Again, find Brittany if you have questions.
Thanks everybody for coming. Great to see everybody. It's an exciting time of year. We've had 11 practices, and our guys are working really hard, so they're doing a great job. We were in the fall, but we've had 11 official practices. So we've gotten a veteran group. Our guys talked about it. We have 5 seniors. We've got 2 juniors. Stan Abude is a third-year junior. We've got a veteran group, and I think at the mid-major level, to be good, you need to be old, and we are old. So it's a completely different roster or group than we had last year. The players touched on it. Practices are much more competitive. They're much more physical. We've got, if our starting group or our first group is not competing, they're going to get beat, and that's great because we've got red shirts this year that are bringing it every day. We've got a deeper roster. Even our walk-ons are competitive, so it's completely different. We did not have this opportunity last year, but this year we can have a player-led program. Our guys touched on it also about they were learning last year the system. With all the injuries we had, the guys we redshirted, it was a process of learning for our guys. This year, our players are teaching the newcomers. And I think Hags talked about that. We go into practice and our veterans are leading the program and they are teaching everybody in the program. We are more refining things now as opposed to teaching. And Stan talked about that. So that's very important because great teams are led by the players. You've got to have your players lead the program, and this year we have that opportunity, and our guys are doing a great job of that. The challenges this year, we can't do anything about it. We got to stay away from injuries like every program. Last year we dealt with that, and that was tough. There were games last year, we had 6 guys playing. Some games we had 7 guys. We had try to stay out of foul trouble. Every time there was a foul called on one of our guys, the bench went into panic mode. You can't play that way. This year we're a lot deeper, but we do have to stay away from injuries. We also have 7 of our first 9 games away from home. We're going to get tested early. We go to Hawaii to play a 3-game tournament, and we're playing Pacific from the WCC. We're playing Hawaii at Hawaii, and we're playing Florida A&M. it's going to, we start 3 on the road, and then we come back for a couple games. Then we go for a 4-game road trip. We go to Arkansas. Eric Musselman, one of the best coaches in the country, SEC school, obviously. He's building that program there. Then we go to California and play Cal Baptist, and part of the WAC Summit Challenge. They've got the preseason player of the year in Milan Aqua at Cal Baptist. We go to Northern Arizona, who we beat last year, and they're going to be ready to go because what we did to them last year, they got a new coach. And then we go up to Washington, who's favored to win the Pac-12. So we've got 7 of 9 away from home early, and it's going to be a test. It'll be a great test, and our guys will get challenged. We'll get challenged as a staff, but that's really going to tell a lot about our season, I think, those first 9 games. So we do have a D1 scrimmage coming up October 20th. We've got an inter-squad scrimmage on the 25th, and then our first exhibition game is November 2nd. We've got a very challenging schedule. All these things are coming up very quick, and our guys are working hard. They're excited. We are excited to play somebody else coming up on the 20th in a Division I scrimmage, a closed scrimmage. So at least we'll get some fresh meat, somebody else to bang bodies against, so that'll be fun. So if anybody has any questions.
Todd, you talk about being a player-led program and then teaching the younger guys this year. How much different is it for you this year as you go into the season, not having to teach not only the players but a staff, the system and everything? It's just got to be a lot different.
It is. I think we're light years away from or ahead of last year as far as that goes. Not just from the player standpoint, from the staff standpoint. They know the drills, they know the terminology, they're able to teach it better, but our players are teaching the other players, and I think that goes a long way. I always tell our guys it means more when it comes from a player than a coach, and our guys are doing a really good job of that, but they understand the system now. They understand me now, they understand our staff, so I think we are way ahead of where we were last year. Last year, it felt like we were teaching basic things of the system into January or February. And we've already got press break in. We've got certain things in that we never would have even got into already because our guys, number one, we've got veteran guys. Number two, we've got smart guys. So that really helps. Our guys are really intelligent guys. And, that really, really helps. And then, again, our staff knowing the system makes a big difference.
With Stan picked as a preseason player of the year, obviously had a lot of growth last season, which some of the numbers he put up were impressive, especially with not a very deep bench, as you alluded to. What did you see out of him that allowed for his biggest growth in college basketball last year?
Well, watching kids grow and change is the best thing about this job. They change sometimes they change over 4 years or 5 years. Sometimes they change, over a year, half a year. Stan will tell you, we early in the year last year, he was trying to figure out his way, and I was helping him figure out his way, and we were trying to figure out that together. We went to Colorado State and beat Colorado State, and I think Stan had 16 points or something. It was right before Christmas, and then we went to Kansas, and he had 28, but he changed right before our eyes, and he started to learn how to compete every day, go hard every day, and I talked to him a lot about the energy and how hard you have to play, and our staff does also, and now we don't talk to him about that anymore. We didn't talk to him about that in the spring. He's from the time maybe in the middle of last year, he just started, you could see he started to figure it out. Now, he's better, way better right now than he was last year because he's had a spring and a summer and a fall of competing, going hard in drills, competing every day, and he's a much better player. And I think it all comes from the fact that he has learned how important it is to go hard and compete. So the sky's the limit for Stan. He's just got to compete every day like he has been, and as he said, he's trying to take on more of a leadership role, and that's big. So he's becoming more of a leader, being more vocal. And I always talk to the guys too about if you want to be a leader. A lot of guys don't want to be leaders because there's responsibility in being a leader. You got to show up every day. Some guys don't want to show up every day. Well, if you're going to be a leader, you got to show up every day, and Stan's doing that.
How much will this, having Tyler back in the fold, how much pairing with the guys you got back, it's got to be a good feeling.
Yeah, it's big to have Hags back. Last year in practice, he dominated practice at times, and you're looking at it just going, well, this sucks, because he can't play. And we get things, with Hags. We got things last year in practice, we just never got in a game. It was unfair to our players. Trey Birch-Manning's playing to 5. He's not a 5. Sometimes Stan was playing to 5. That just wasn't fair to them, but they battled. Hags last year in practice was really good, and he got healthy, as he said, mid-year. And, he was a really good player. But he's also a lot better now. He's gotten in great shape. It's going to make a huge difference. He made 44 threes, I think, as a junior, shot 82% from the line, led the team in rebounding, led the team in block shots. And I'll say this, you have Tristan, you got Hags, Stan was on that team too. They're used to winning. We didn't win last year, we got a lot to prove, but they won 26 games that year. And he was obviously a big part of that. He's the second leading scorer. So the 5th year, coming back after the redshirt year and having Hags back, we can run offense through him. It's really big that he makes free throws, to have a big man that can make free throws. We can go to him at the end of the game. We have a couple guys now we can go to more. We talked about Stan. Stan's shooting free throws a lot better. You don't want to go to somebody who can't make free throws at the end of the game. So Hags running offense through him, rebounding, getting easy baskets. It seems like last year everything we got was tough. Sometimes with a big man like Hags, you get easy things, and hopefully we get a lot of them.
Ty, going back to what you said at the start, you talked about at this level, it's so important to have a senior group. What kind of difference do you think that makes for a team at this level to have a senior group?
Well, when you're at the Power 5 or you're at Duke or wherever you're at, you can play with young guys that are pros. Well, our league that doesn't always have pros. Mike Dowm was maybe one of the best players that ever played here, and he didn't get drafted. He's playing overseas. He's going to have a great career. He's going to make a lot of money. At our level, and I tell our guys, unless you're playing against a pro, you can beat anybody. Now if you're playing against a pro, because I've coached against a lot of pros, they're hard to beat because they're pros. They're different. Their energy's different. Their body's different. The way they play is different. We've got guys that can play professional basketball, that's for sure, but at the mid-major level, you need to build a team, and they need to know your system. They need to be there every year. They've got to get older. They got to get tougher. And the second year, as they talked about knowing the system, it makes a big difference. So at our level, you need to be old to be good. Very, very rarely do you win with young kids at this level. You just don't, because a lot of times either recruiting, these guys aren't going to be, one and done guys. They need to be in the system. So it's just, when you look at teams that have advanced in the NCAA tournament, they're in mid-major level, they're usually old.
With Tyler Hagnorton, how tempting was it for you to pull his redshirt last year when he was healthy and get him in there? Was there any temptation?
No, there wasn't, because we talked to him and his parents, and it was best. Hags talked about it. It was best for him and his future. It was best for our program's future, to be honest. I mean, if we started, it wouldn't have been fair for him in the middle of the year to put him out there. He was just getting healthy, and he gets a half a year playing his senior year. It was best. We sat down with him, sat down with his parents, and it was best for everybody. If I could, I'd redshirt everybody. I think redshirt is great, and that it gets back to the old thing. But there was really no temptation to pull him out. We knew what we were going to do. but it was tough to watch him every day because last year we lost 12 games by 7 points or less. That's an amazing statistic. I don't know. I'll have Curry look at it and figure out if that's. I mean, our guys are trying to find their roles. Who's the go-to guys? You know, but we lost 12 games by 7 points or less, and I'm thinking that if we had Hags, we would have probably won 8 or 10 of those. I really believe that. So I think having somebody like him makes a big difference. Makes everything easier. Run offense to him, things I said before, skilled, make free throws. So we never thought about pulling him off red shirt, but at times it was tough to watch and practice. So
Schematically, does having him back, does that change the way that you're going to be able to run your offense this year?
yes, yep. We couldn't do things last year that you want to do, and actually even Stan being more skilled at the 4. Tristan had a great year last year, and he's very comfortable with running the team under the system that we have now. Last year he was learning it. Tristan was really good last year. He's going to have a great year. But Stan's more skilled. So we're able to do things with Stan too. But we didn't have anybody like Hags last year, so we're able to do things with him out on the floor that we just couldn't do last year. You know, you're talking about a 5-man you can post. We had a scrimmage the other day, and our best offense was just throwing him the ball and cutting off a post. Well, we had nobody do that last year. And there's things that we can do with him out on the floor. He's a good passer. He can shoot the 3. And we just had nobody like that last year. So it does change things offensively.
With the guys you have back, you got to feel like you got an NCAA tournament team. Just by looking, I know season hasn't begun yet, but you got to feel that.
That's a little quick, but yep, no. Look, if we don't go to the NCAA tournament, it'll be a disappointing season. That's the way I look at it. That's what I think our guys would look at it the same way. I think it's a wide open race in the Summit. North Dakota State's picked to win it. They should be. They've got most of their guys back from a team that went to the NCAA tournament last year. We've got our top 4 scorers back from in the Summit League. We've got 5 of our top 6 back, and then you add Hags, and then we had some depth. We had some red shirts. So we feel good about where we are. But it's going to be a wide open race, I think. Anybody can get beat on any given night. And so, but I believe that our guys' goal, I know our guys' goal, is to win the Summit League regular season and then win the Summit League tournament. And if we don't, it's a disappointing year.
Todd, you obviously got, a lot of experience, a lot of returning scoring, but, last year you saw a guy like Stanley kind of come into his own. Who are some of the younger guys, some transfers that are new to the program? Do you really expect to, be significant contributors this year?
Well, we redshirted Simeon Jovic last year, and he'll back up Hags at the 5. So we have 2 5-men, which makes a big difference. Matt Johns has improved. He played last year, significant minutes at times, and he's improved. But we have a couple freshmen, Cruz Perel Hunt, who's played on the New Zealand national team, who's a point guard, and Hunter Goodrick, who is from Australia. Both of them are a little bit older. They played international basketball. Hunter's a 6'7", 4-man, can shoot it, left-handed, tough kid, about 220 pounds. Both those guys will play and add minutes and depth, and they've played a lot of international basketball. They're very intelligent, and they're going to help. So Cruz is about 6'3", and then Tyler Chisholm is a wing from Indian Hills, 6'3", who's tough, good defender. Somebody we really didn't have last year. He can attack the basket. Really tough young man who defends, goes downhill and attacks people. We didn't really have that last year. And so those are the guys that, we've got right now. We've got more depth, a lot more depth than we had last year.
What's it like having a veteran backcourt with Tristan Simpson, Cody Kelly, and having 2 years in the system with them, and how is that going to help your backcourt and overall offense?
Well, it's going to help a lot. Cody's he's a coach on the floor, and we joke about it. I think he's working on his second master's. He graduated in 3 years from Wyoming, 4.0 in kinesiology. He transfers, so he's got 2 years left in the grad transfer. Finished the master's, working on another one. He coaches the team, and I just let him coach, And Brad, who helps Coach Davidson, who runs our offense, Cody's saying something, we just shut up. He's running, he tells guys where to go and what to do. Well, he wasn't doing that last year. He was trying to figure out the system. Tristan's the same way. We huddle up, and Tristan's telling guys what to do, not just with the play, but how the defense is going to guard it and what to counter. So that's the next step, and he knows that too. So Tristan and Cody, two tough young men. They both are point guard mentality players, and Tristan's playing the point. Cody will play the two, and then because he really shoots the ball well, and then he'll play some point. But to have both of those guys run the team and understand the system now is a big difference.
Coach, you've touched a little bit on the depth on the team and some of the guys you brought over from overseas. Can you walk through a little bit how you've attacked recruiting since you've come here, and then what's kind of made you so successful so far?
Well, we want to recruit the area. We want to recruit within a 5-6 hour radius and do the best we can in this region and know everybody. One, we feel like we want to recruit locally, so I just think it's best for the kids, it's best for the program, it's best for the families of the players. They can come and watch their sons play. We feel also that at our level, basketball's changed in my lifetime. I've been doing this a long time, and this transfer market is completely out of whack. But, if you got local players, I think they end up wanting to stay. I'll give you an example. Hags graduated. He could have transferred, but he's from an hour and a half from here. His parents get to see him. They come up to see him all the time. He's really, and I think, we spend a lot of time talking about guys who leave programs and how great it is, and it doesn't. Most of the time, it doesn't work out. We should be applauding guys like Hags, who is a fifth-year guy who loves University of South Dakota and has been here. He's graduated, and he's said, I'm going to do something for the program. That's who we should be, talking about all the time. That's not our society, just soapbox stuff, but that's the way it works. So we do recruit internationally. Coach Davidson's from Australia. I've had success recruiting in Australia in my career and overseas. And the guys come here from overseas and they think everything's great. They love the facilities. Everybody's nice. Our administration does a great job of taking care of our players. And I'm really proud of the fact that none of our players transferred last year. They all came back. And I think that says a lot about our staff. I think it says a lot about our administration, the way we treat our athletes. I think it says a lot about our town. I think it says a lot about the media we get, the coverage. So I was really proud of that. But international players, a lot of times they come in and they're really well prepared academically. They love it. They think it's great. They get to compete. They love the facilities. And so we recruit a lot locally, and we try to find guys that we can have in this program that can be here and be successful. And I'm really excited about the 3 redshirts we have that's sitting out. A.J. Plitzwhite's going to be a really good player. Cannon Costner's going to be a really good player, and Brady Hyman's going to be a really good player. And they're all from right here. Obviously, A.J.'s from Vermillion. The other 2 are from Nebraska. They're just down the road. And they're all going to be here for the next 4 years. They've got a year to sit out and play 3. So we're excited about not only this year's group, but we're excited about the future.
Todd, I think it was a day or two ago, Tyler Chisholm tweeted that he was basically removing himself from social media to focus in on the season. Is that something you're noticing, like, as the group just more locked in this year than maybe they were at the start of last year?
I don't know. Well, we're way more locked in because we've got, when you have a new staff and you have a new head coach, guys are trying to figure things out. They're trying to figure out where they fit in, and we aren't worried about nobody's worried about where they're fitting in right now. Everybody's just playing to win and compete and get better. Everybody knows their role, what they can do. Our staff knows our players. Tyler, he's a little bit different than what we had last year, as I said, as far as a defender, attack the rim guy. If he's going to, Twitter, you can spend a lot of time on Twitter looking at stuff and all the other social media things. So I think it's good, Hopefully he sticks with it and, just focuses on basketball and school. Academics, John.
Any other questions for Coach Lee?
Thanks to all of you for coming to Media Day. This is an exciting time of the year as we're kicking things off. And I'd like to say we just got back from a team retreat we took this weekend. A great bonding opportunity for our team, for our staff, together with our young ladies. And heading into the season, I think it was a great way to kind of get things started. I have a great deal of respect and love for the 14 young ladies in our program. I think they certainly feel that same way. They're doing a tremendous job of competing, of caring for each other, of taking care of each other, and at the same time, I think that they're really challenging each other, and they have a great deal of fun when they're together, and I think that's really, really important. The crew that you met, the 4 seniors who are up here, have done a great job of setting the tone for us. We've been working diligently since June, and certainly the goal for us is to continue to fall in love with the process of what it takes to be able to play at our best. And certainly, I think this group of 4 seniors and our upperclassmen really have done a great job of setting that tone. It takes a great deal of urgency and relentlessness to play against the best teams in the country, and certainly I think that's going to be something that we're excited about, is the schedule that we have in front of us. The fact that we do have a veteran squad this year is something that certainly is an asset to our program, and certainly something that helps us in continued growth, and we're going to need to have continued growth, obviously, with the non-conference schedule that we take on. We start off our season on the road. We start off at Northeastern, a top 100 RPI team last year, team that went to the WNIT, a team that has some really big wins on the road. They beat Dayton, they beat Florida. We then continue on the road, and we take on Green Bay. Green Bay is one of the mid-major powerhouses in women's basketball. They've won 20 of the last 21 Horizon League championships. They're a team that certainly was in the WNIT last year. A really tough environment to play in front of, and something that certainly we think will help us continue to get better. We then come home and we take on Drake, and Drake, obviously, as a regional opponent, is a very quality opponent, a team that's been in the NCAA tournament the last 3 years, a team that returned 7 of their top 11 players, a team that was a top 20 team nationally last year. Had some really big wins. They beat Rutgers, they beat Nebraska, they beat South Carolina. Then we go back on the road and we take on Utah. It'll be a great opportunity for us to take on a Pac-12 team, a team that was 13-3 last year on their home court. The Pac-12 is one of the conferences that is one of the top 3 conferences in women's basketball, and this year could be maybe even the best conference in the nation. And then we come back home and we take on Missouri, a team last year that was a top 25 team, as was Utah during the course of the season last year. So we take on Missouri. They had, I believe it was the top or the 4th or 12th ranked recruiting class in the country last year. A team that certainly is really well coached, very well prepared, a team that will certainly continue to challenge us, another top 30 team in the country from last season. Then we take on Missouri State. They come here, and it'll be the first time that Missouri State comes to Vermillion, a team that returns 82% of their scoring from a Sweet 16 team a year ago. So certainly excited for that opportunity. Then we go out to a tournament in Las Vegas called the South Point Shootout. We take on Ohio State. Ohio State had the 4th best recruiting class in the country, a WNIT team last year, and it'll be the first time that the Coyotes and the Buckeyes face off, so that'll be a lot of fun for us. Then we take on Northern Illinois. Northern Illinois was a top 130 team last year, a team that plays really fast. We played them 2 years ago, I think it was, in a tournament at UMKC. Very, very well coached, pushed the ball, like I said, and a team that will be a contender in the MAC this season. Then we finally have a stretch where we have some home games, and we take on Creighton, a great regional opponent, a team that's been in the NCAA tournament 2 of the last 3 years, a team that really spaces the floor, shoots the ball extremely well. Then we stay at home and we take on Coppin State. It'll be the first time that we've played against the Eagles, so that'll be a good opportunity for us. Then we have a regional foe when we play Mount Marty. I think that's a game that attracts a lot of fans, local fans, and that should be a lot of fun. And then we finish up that home stretch with the game against Montana. It's a return game from last year. We went out to Montana, play against another team that plays really hard, shoots the ball really well, spaces the floor, a team that defends, gives you multiple looks. And then we finish up our non-conference schedule with playing a game at the University of South Carolina, a team that has been one of the top teams in the country. They've been ranked in the top 10 in the nation in the last 3 years. They've actually had the best home attendance over the last 4 seasons and 2017 national champion. So a team that certainly will give us every challenge under the sun and will play a style that we really haven't seen a whole lot. So we feel really good about our non-conference schedule. I feel like the goal is to prepare us to see a number of different styles. The goal is to have us face teams in tough environments, and we certainly have a number of those. And at the same time, give us opportunities to bond as a team and continue on that path, and we're certainly excited about that. We currently, today will be our 15th practice of the season so far, and while we are a team that has a lot of veteran young ladies, we're a team that's refining what we've done. We haven't changed a whole lot of things that have helped us be successful in the past, but we're certainly looking at focusing on the finer details, and that's something that our upperclassmen and our veteran crew is allowing us to do because of their experience. And with that, I'll open it up to questions.
Don, Kira Duffy obviously picked as the preseason player of the year and a tremendous basketball player. What does she bring to this team, not only just on the floor, but maybe off of the floor and helping educate this team? It feels like she's been in a leadership role now for her 3rd year.
Well, Kira really has had a tremendous level of success during the course of her career. She's someone who not only, as you mentioned, John, leads us in so many ways on the court. She's someone we rely on to take big shots. She's someone we rely on at the end of shot clocks. She's someone we rely on to get to the free throw line. She's been very versatile within our system. She's played anywhere from the point guard position to our primary post position. She's someone who I think is a calming presence for her teammates. But I think one of the things that really sets her apart is her dedication to being her best. And she's one of 5 players last year that was on the first team all-academic team nationally, which is phenomenal. So she's committed to being a great student. She's a great ambassador for our university. She graduated in 3 years as a double major 4.0. She's someone who's had a tremendous amount of success on the basketball court and is also someone who's very, very humble. And I think she's also very hungry. She's a young lady that if you come in to the arena or one of the back gyms during almost any time of the day and you hear a ball bouncing, your first thought is it's probably Kira Duffy, and you probably have a good chance of making that assumption be correct because she puts in a great deal of time. So I think she's someone who has been a leader in so many different ways during the course of her career, and now is becoming even more comfortable with being more vocal, and that's something that is stretching her comfort zone a little bit, and now she's starting to do it seamlessly, which is great.
Last year, obviously, a special season with the opportunity to go to the NCAA tournament. Didn't end the way that your group would have liked. Have you noticed anything in the off-season and into this preseason, building off of that from this group, just a hunger and drive to not only get back, but go a step further?
Well, certainly, and I think what happens when your young ladies have a taste of that, they can go one of 2 directions, and they can either just kind of expect it to happen again, or they can see that as such a great opportunity and be challenged to even get better. And I think that's certainly number 2 is the direction that our young ladies have taken, the approach that they've taken. And so what we've noticed as a staff is that when you talk to them, they've always been very coachable, but they're locked in at a different level. And so they ask questions at a different level. They're making adjustments during the course of scrimmaging back and forth and who's guarding who and talking about different ways that we should guard it and how we should set it up. And so I think their understanding is better because they've had more experiences, but at the same time, their coachability is at an all-time high in terms of just kind of yearning for any little thing to work to get better. And so I think that's certainly a tribute to who they are as young ladies.
With all the success you've had in the last few years, I guess the question is, what can you do for an encore?
Well, for us, certainly the goal is to continue to get better. And we project that this year's non-conference schedule will be, as it's on paper right now, the toughest schedule that we've ever faced. And so for us, it's continuing to play against different styles and different settings and to continue to help us find ways to keep improving. And right now, I told our young ladies this past weekend, last year at this time, we had a lot of our foundation laid going into the season, and we were much farther ahead last year than we were the year before. And yet this year, we may not have as many things in, but what we do have in right now, we're better at, we're more refined at. And so what we've kind of taken a little bit different approach, and we're really focusing on how to be really, really good in a few categories, a few certain areas. How do we really improve? And then we can kind of add in as we continue to get better. So I think for them, they continue to put in time outside of practice. They're a team that continues to want to set the standard as high as they can possibly set it and try to leave their own legacy.
Coach, with the expectations really high, how hard is it to keep the girls at level going into the season and yourself as well?
Well, I think that's a great question, and certainly as you look to try to be as prosperous as possible, during the season, and the preseason rankings came out, I think the young ladies who were up here talked about making sure that we attack things with confidence, and that's certainly really, really important. But the other part of that is with the same humility that you need to have to continue to fall in love with that process of continuing to work each day. And certainly that's a challenge that we've got to continue to set in front of them. And so one of the things that we continue to do as coaches is show them examples on film from either practices or games in the past of where we need to get to, and some things where we're significantly better than maybe we were a year ago, or some things where we want to significantly improve now. And so it is a challenge, to learn how to play with the target on your back, as Madison McKeever talked about. It's something that's a little bit different for us, and it's something that I really think that with the veterans we have, they understand. They understand that there are games when you can play really hard, but not play extremely well. And so for us, it's not just a matter of playing hard. That's a standard that has to be there. It's also about execution.
Coach, with Allison graduating, obviously opened up a spot in your starting rotation. How does that change now this year? I mean, is it as simple as bringing in another guard and keeping Hannah on the bench, or does she move into a starting role? How does that impact that?
That's a great question. It's not one that we've totally solved the answer to at this point in time. But I think we have options right now, and you mentioned a few of them. One is if we stay with the 4 remaining starters and we put Hannah in with that group, we're a lot bigger than we've been. We did that on 1 or 2 occasions last year, and I think we have to learn how to play that way in certain situations. I also think we have options to play a smaller group as well. In our starting lineup, I think there are 3 or 4 young ladies who really have done a tremendous job in the summer, in the preseason. Monica Arns is someone who played 23 minutes a game for us last year, and who is, as you probably are well aware, someone who probably led the conference last year in charges taken, and is someone who is continuing to do that in practice. And that makes a difference for you. She's someone who we can really count on defensively, and I think she's becoming an even better on-ball defender. Liv Korngable is someone who played about 13 minutes a game for us, and is someone who can really not only shoot the ball extremely well and extremely quickly, but someone who can really lock down and defend. So we have options to play some perimeter kids who can really help us offensively and certainly help us defensively. We have options, with Hannah to play bigger than we've played in the past. So I think what will be interesting about us as we go on is what suits us best, and is it one style, is it one matchup, is it one post player, is it two post players? Does it depend on who we're playing against with what the type of matchup that we have? One of the things that we've really focused a great deal on and refining this year is who we are defensively. And we were a good defensive team last year, and our goal is to be an improved and a better defensive team this year. For us in our non-conference, we're playing against some teams that will play one traditional post, a few that may play two traditional posts, and then we're playing against some who, like Creighton and Drake, for example, who really space the floor, and their post kids who aren't necessarily traditional post kids can really fill it up and can really shoot. So one of the things we've been working on a great deal is finding ways to make Hannah and Taylor as comfortable as possible defending out on the perimeter against those type of teams.
It feels something like it's a two-team league, you and SDSU. Do you think the rest of the league will challenge you guys this year?
Well, I certainly believe that there's some very, very good teams in the conference outside of the two that you mentioned. I really believe that Oral Roberts has been one of the top teams defensively in our league. They were third in the country in three-point field goals made last year. I think they're going to be really, really good. I believe Denver is another team that really can fill it up. I think they finished fifth in the country in three-pointers made last season, a team that plays really fast, a team that's very well coached and disciplined. I certainly believe Western Illinois. They came in a couple years ago and gave teams a lot of fits with their zone. I think they're a team that is a veteran team now. I think they're a team that is really a great contender in our league. So, we're excited about the rigors of the non-conference, but certainly excited for the rigors of our conference as well. I think last year the Summit League was one of the top, if not, I think it's the best three-point shooting team in the country, in the nation. We had 5 teams last year that were in the top 34 in the country in three-point field goals made. So for us, being able to extend defensively and be better in those situations will be important.
Any other